There's some good points that I want drafted in there for how we roll out.
Call the Village of Johnsburg, October 7, 2025, regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees to order at 7 p.m. On the roll, Trustee Morgus. Here. Trustee Hagan. Here. Trustee Sylvanus. Here. Trustee Von Allen. Trustee Polk. Here. Trustee here. Can we stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
From the floor, Trustee Polk.
Good evening, everyone. I want to just make a public statement. So I am the chair for the Community Affairs Committee, so I run and operate a lot of our events in town. I have 3 children in town, multiple sports, and I just wanted to take a minute, first of all, thank all of our coaches, our committee members, our youth sports and extracurricular activities, the Java Club, the Boosters, the Lions Club, all the events that the Men's Club and the Community Club offer up. Basically, anyone that has volunteered. So I've seen being involved in a lot of these. It's a lot of the same people, and they get stuck in the same situation, whether it's chain gang or concession stand. So my main thing here is to thank all those people that have contributed and volunteered their time. It's very encouraging to see our town never sleeps, and we've got great enrollment in some of our extra activities and our sports programs, but that stuff does take time. So as a chairperson of that committee, I want to challenge our residents to get more involved, and especially our young adults that are coming into to town now too. Any kind of help at all helps relieve someone else. And I'm starting to see a struggle with some of the volunteers, so I really wanted to thank the people that have done any time at all, and then urge the community, any one of us here could get anybody in contact, no matter what event it is. I personally would love to take that responsibility on, so I just want to go on public record, thank everyone that has done that, and urge the community to get more involved in any activity at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Weiger.
Right.
Do you want to address, please?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm here because the 29th of last month, my daughter Renee was notified that the solar farm is being looked at right next to her home, right on the borderline between Johnsburg and the other property. And I'm here to say that I heavily object to that. This is good prime farmland, and the solar field does not belong in right next to a residential area. Keep in mind, when you're going to drive on those main roads for the next 30 years, you're going to see these solar panels up to a height of 15 feet. It's going to look very, very bad. It will influence also the property value of all the homes that are located along there. I talked to the assessor and he says, well, you know, if anybody owns a home there, are you going to reduce the taxes for those homes if the value goes down? And his answer was no. We're going to wait till the farm is built. Then when somebody along that borderline sells, then we make an assessment if the property taxes should be dropped. And I think this is so wrong. What the state of Illinois did in the year 2021 to force this upon all the communities, I think was a lousy thing to do. I'll let my daughter give you some more information later on. Thank you.
That's okay. And I don't think anybody on this board will disagree with you. We've objected to the solar farm that was going to go down the road, on Ringwood Road, and I think that we'll object to this one too, but understand that that is not in the village of Johnsburg.
I
So
understand.
the county has the jurisdiction, and we will make sure that they know that we're objecting to it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Renee Weigert?
That was my father. Again, I got the notice. It's one of 4 houses who got a certified letter in the mail. I'm hoarse because all I've been doing since the day I got this letter was trying to find out what this is all about, how I can represent the community and myself to oppose this, find out who is doing it, what legal actions can be taken, how does this affect our land. I'm a bit advocate of health, and when you search things, there'll be people pro and for this stuff. I'm not for it. I know more about it than probably anyone sitting in this room, including the person who wants to install it. I met him today. He came around my neighborhood. His name is Dylan. He was coming around to find out what our concerns were, if there were any, with him putting this on the land next to us. I did voice my opinion, and I did not hold back. I told him I didn't agree with the land usage, with the property values, with the drainage, with the wildlife it's going to affect, with the noise, the EMFs. The list continues to go on. Glares, nothing we agreed upon. He made it sound like roses. We're going to give back to the community. Oh, great. You know what happens when this ends up being a junk field? It's just eliminated. There's 2 LLC companies. I've learned about this months ago. I may not know in-depth details. These people walk away. It goes from one company to another company. No one will be held accountable. But our community and all these people who grew up in Johnsburg, generation after generation after generation, now these next generations come in, they're going to be left with all this debris. So I'm not saying this just because I am the home that looks out onto this field right out my kitchen window. There's still going to be someone who doesn't think anything of it and will put some trees up, but that does not stop the heavy metals from leaching into our land. And it's not if there's going to be heavy metals in our land, it's just a matter of when they're going to leach into our land. Because when the weather comes down, that field, and you can ask any neighbor who's here or anyone on that property, we've had wind strong enough to knock down brick walls. We have had several lightning strikes. I lost over $100,000 of electrical in my house from a lightning strike during COVID. I know this personally. My neighbor has had lightning strikes. I warned this gentleman. I asked him today, I said, I understand you're proposing it. I said, my objection here is the location. We're at residential homes, not just my home, but what about the homes all the way down? This is going to affect our community. Can't you find property outside? There's lots of land. Why next to residential homes? I'm like, do you understand even the winds and the impact you're going to have? He did not understand. He did not understand the easements. I learned that he's only had this company or been with this company. It's been established for 3 years. I did my research after meeting with him, only to find out they've only installed 1 other solar field to date. Now again, maybe that's because you're jumping company to company, he's already washed your hands. I don't know those details. All I know, it's a bad situation. You could probably ask me any question, and I've researched it within the last week. And we all need to come together. I understand exactly what you said. McHenry, it's unincorporated land. They're in control of it. I understand there's laws that Illinois has placed. I know there's a law in the Big Beautiful Bill that's going to stop some of the kickbacks. But right now, these people are eager to plant their farms. But there's a lot of things to address, and I think we all need to get together. We all need to be on the same page. We only have 3 minutes to speak next week on the 15th. So I urge the village to come together to support this, to reach out and see what we can do so we address each individual issue and it gets the right attention. And if anyone needs more information or wants to know more information, I'll be more than happy to speak with them.
Thank you. Okay. Laura Salzar.
I am also here. Ooh, sorry. I'm also here because of everything with the farm that's going up. And many of the people in the subdivision have lived here for many years. Some have just moved in, some with young kids, and hoping that this was their forever home. I'm sorry, but it's crazy. We want this to be a safe area for all our neighbors. This brings up so many questions about the solar farm. I do not know anything about this stuff. We only had, 15 days to come up with things, and it just doesn't seem to make any sense to me. How is it going to be fenced in? By trees or a farm or a fence? We definitely don't want our kids to roam into the solar farm. I mean, I think it would be dangerous. Does it affect the air quality? Does it create heat or make an area hotter than others? Are they easily broken? Hail, rocks, lightning? We don't know, because that's dangerous to our kids, to everybody, you know. How often are they maintained? It needs to be maintained often because it's going to be in a residential area. Who's going to make sure it's maintained? I mean, I've seen so many solar farms just not being maintained, and they look like crud. It's very dangerous. If they're broken or damaged, does it leach into our water supply and land? It's going to affect all their health, issues and everybody's health and mental state of mind. How's it going to be cooled? Are there chemicals going to be used? Will it cause unsafe roads due to the reflection of the panels? I don't know how this works, but I would think all the reflections would cause accidents. We have enough down the street from us. Ultimately, who pays for the farm? The taxpayers, or do they? Do we get any benefits from that? I don't know. We've had a very short time to prepare this meeting. Our research is minimal. I know that some of our neighbors have come up with really good questions and looked up things and know more than we do, but I'm very, very against it. I know all our neighbors are against it. What do we gain from this? It seems we will lose more than gain. According to our research, our property values are going to go down. Seems like the owners of the solar farm will gain a lot more than us. Do we get any aid for having this solar farm? Sounds like the breaks the owners are going to get are more than what we are. It's just not fair. I'm sure we're not the only people concerned about this proposal, and ultimately we have a very negative outlook on this proposal. It does not fit into the vision of the village of Johnsburg, and it has carried out throughout all the years, and it seems it doesn't fit into the future of this community either. I just want our kids to be safe, and how is it going to be safe if we know very little, and they've had so much time to prepare for it. So please, I urge you guys to bring these proposals and whatever you need to do into effect, because we're all concerned, very concerned. Thank you.
Okay, Dylan?
Hi, good evening. So I'm Dylan Haber. I'm with Cultivate Power, and I'm the developer for the solar project that has been referenced here, Water Locust Solar. We have submitted an application to McHenry County, and there is a ZBA hearing next week. And as part of that process, they give the public, their chance to comment and ask their questions, and they really only give them about 3 minutes to talk. And I personally don't think that's sufficient to answer many of the questions that you've heard here. A lot of really good questions coming out about unfamiliarity and safety and health. So personally, I've been trying to do my own outreach. I've reached out to the village here. I've been in touch with McHenry Township. I've actually been in touch with the fire chief here to ask if he has any concerns. We have an ongoing dialogue with him. And I walked around the neighborhood today, and I spoke with many of the people that you see here, and spent my whole day answering questions, trying to address certain concerns. I don't think we have time to get into everything right now, but I'm just trying to make myself as available as I can to answer any questions that the neighbors have, that you may have. And I'm here tonight because I understood there was going to be a formal discussion about this, and so I'm going to be here just to answer any questions that you may have as you get into that. Thank you.
While you're up there, Dylan, does anybody want to ask Dylan a question on the board?
Yeah, I guess, do you guys have, they mentioned locations being near residential, do you have other areas that you're looking into? I guess, is there a reason, that specific property?
Yeah, so a lot goes into actually selecting the sites for these. You want, first and foremost, you need the sufficient amount of acreage to be able to put one of these up. You need a 3-phase line or an electrical substation, ComEd, close enough to interconnect. And then there's a number of other kind of physical site features that you look at in terms of the slopes and any potential wetlands. We do kind of a cursory environmental species review. And so all of that kind of gets plugged into these systems, and you find the optimal sites. And as I explained to many of the people today, I would love to put the solar fields in an empty farmland where nobody lives next to it. That would be my preference, and we have done that historically over the last decade or so. And given the energy needs in this state, there is a growing demand for these projects, and the low-hanging fruit on the perfect parcels is gone, and it's getting higher and higher and more difficult to site these. And I understand that no project exists in isolation, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to site one of these projects anywhere where nobody else is going to be impacted. I know there is a neighborhood of people on one side here, but we do have, to the north and to the west and to the south, we don't have residential, or we have very sparse residential there. So, all of these factors are what go into our own site selection. And then, on top of that, even if we can get that far and get the right site and the landowner on board, there's still a number of different environmental or regulatory or utility reasons why these projects may not go through in the end.
Thank you.
I had some questions too, but can we do it at the end or no? No? You want to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my issues is that site, right? And the topography of that site, and how that site drains into the southeast corner of the property, right? And then in the southeast corner of that property, there's some lowlands, and then those go into ponds, right? In fact, one of the first ponds that it drains into is our Lions Park, right? Where we sponsor fishing derbies and other activities. So, so I guess some of my questions are based on that stormwater and drainage of that site, right? Because it doesn't just go to Lions Park; it feeds another 4 or 5 ponds after that. and then ends up in the Fox River, right? So the water that's coming from that site, based on the topography, you can see, right, clearly that it's being channeled through that out to the Fox River. So I guess, like again, I just have some, that's my concern, right, with some of these questions that I have. Because I was curious that the hydrologic model that you guys used, right, for this site was what? And I have not seen the submission to McHenry County yet. But again, do you know what model your company used for that site?
Yeah, so it's a very valid concern, and I think at this stage we have not done in-depth stormwater modeling. We have a general sense based on desktop data of what the topography of the site looks like and where it's going to flow, but the kind of heavy engineering gets done a little bit farther down the line when you're designing for your building permit. So I don't have a really granular answer for you tonight, but what I'll tell you is that we're not allowed to negatively impact any of our neighbors in terms of stormwater runoff. So whatever the situation is right now, it's going to be that or better for the neighbors. We do like a very intensive review of it. We're required to follow national pollutant discharge standards. We do an erosion and sediment control plan, which includes measures during construction, and then we have a post-construction stormwater management plan, depending on how many acres are paved and how many posts go in. And there's all these calculations that spit out a certain amount of numbers and a certain amount of retention that we need to acquire and keep on site and infiltrate if we are impacting more than what existed. And then the last thing I'll say is that the current land use is row crops, it's agricultural, and according to the Illinois Department of Agriculture, we as solar developers have to put in a native planting below the panel. So that's a deep rooted grass that really helps infiltrate stormwater. It allows insects and native pollinators to remain connected to the site. And really, from the perspective of stormwater infiltration, it actually is an improvement because you're going from row crops to a meadow style coverage.
Okay. So is it accurate then to say at this point in the timeline that there's still additional evaluations that need to occur in regards to stormwater erosion control other than what the standards are from the statute? Like you're saying, the undergrowth under the solar equipment, right? But as far as the quantity of runoff today versus what would be after it's completed, do we know what those numbers are today?
We don't know today, but we know that we're required to abide by the standards and to not increase those numbers after development.
Okay. And again, I'll just, based upon the topography, I think the heights were 870, 860, somewhere around 865, and then in the lower southeast corner, 850. So you're not going to get that quantity of land, right, that large of a space of land to be able to flow in a different direction, right? It's still going to go to the southeast.
Yeah, so it should look similar to how it is now, and if there's an amount that we pay that impacts the total, then we'll add in, a retention basin or an infiltration basin or a point exit into the local drainage system. But yeah, we're not allowed to impact our neighbors negatively. I want to make that very clear.
Okay. And then the stormwater prevention plan, which is not in place yet, right? Because we don't.
Correct, yeah, so in terms of the timeline itself, we would apply for zoning. If we get permission to have proper zoning there, then we would engage proper engineering and topographical surveys to develop those plans and submit them to the county and have the county do their own review with their engineers prior to any building permit being issued.
Okay. And the soils on that property, do you have borings of the soils to understand what's there currently?
Yeah, so we have an idea based on the desktop data available, but again, if we were granted zoning, we would send out a geotechnical engineer, do some coring, figure out exactly what is down there, what the depth of bedrock is, what groundwater levels may be, and design the steel foundations accordingly.
Okay. All right, most of my questions were based on any evaluation that has already been done or any plans that were in place, so I won't ask any more questions.
Real quick, you had talked about low-hanging fruit, meaning areas, 50-plus acres, all agriculture, away from residential areas. You had to know where you were looking at. You see there's a residence area right there. So you knew you were stepping in a pile right off the bat.
Yeah, we're familiar with the sites that we're missing.
So to that point, that's Plan A. If they turn you down on Wednesday, where do you plan? What's Plan B for you guys?
You mean for this project specifically?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, we're
Or do you look for a different site 2 miles north or 3 miles west? Because I'm sure you're in the business. I'm stating, Eddie, maybe 6-7 years ago, down there at Ringwood and South Solon Road, they tried to put, and that was rejected down there. So I'm sure you know about
I think
that.
it has something to do with the power lines, and he mentioned the substation. So, you know, the power lines that feed, I think, like Scott Forge, and they put all those new powers in, they put the substation up by the Hiller deal. I'm sure that's part of the why you are looking at that area, correct?
Yeah, so we identified, ComEd has a certain amount of capacity on each substation or each line, and they're only allowed to take in a certain amount of power in each spot. So there's, you know, kind of a back-end analysis that gets done, and then we submit each project for interconnection, and, you know, it works its way through, and if it comes back and it's feasible financially, and, you know, we get a zoning permit and all the environmental stuff comes back clean, then that property would be a good candidate to move forward. So, I mean, I can't really comment about other properties because each property has to be reviewed in isolation.
So you're selling that energy from the solar back to ComEd, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's a private equity selling the energy back to ComEd. ComEd's selling it to us. Is there any benefit to the residents that was brought up here?
Yeah, so
by you doing that? Is there, you know, I'm sure everybody here would be more in favor of would cut our electric bill in half, and I'm sure you can't answer that, but I mean, what is the benefit to a community to have that solar farm there?
yeah, so I mean, it's not going to cut your bill in half, but but the project itself is going to be entered into Illinois' community solar program, the Illinois Shines program, and that allows homeowners or renters or businesses, anyone with an electrical bill, to subscribe to a portion of this solar array that we're building. So it's as if, you know, you get the benefits of having a solar panel on your roof and you get the electrical benefits of having it, but you don't actually have to have it up on your roof.
What's a portion? What portion?
Sorry.
How much?
So
what
that
percentage?
So the array gets divided up. So if you're a homeowner, you have your monthly bill. You can pick the amount of consumption that you use and subscribe to that same amount of consumption from the solar farm. And so that consumption that portion of your bill with ComEd, the generation portion, you would actually get about a 15% discount on that. So, it depends on the amount of consumption in your home and your air conditioner and all things of that like, but a number of people end up with 10, 15, 20 bucks off their electrical bills every month.
Except me, because my land next to me is going to heat up from the panels. They say from 5 to 8 degrees from my research. So my master bedroom faces this field, has a hard time cooling down as it is when the sun goes down. Now when it's 80 degrees outside, my heat next to my house is going to be like 85, 88. And my air is going to be cranking. But I'm not going to get a benefit. I'm going to get a larger bill.
Okay. The input from the
Sorry.
audience is already over with. That's why we do it first, so everybody can talk about it. This gentleman's trying to explain what is going on. Is there anybody on the board that has anything else to say? I look at it as more selfish reasons that eventually that corner would be, Johnsburg, and that's a prime corner for something that would produce some retail tax for us, sales tax. So that someday I look at it that way. But I'm not saying it's wrong. I know Rick has to comment, wants to comment on it. I know he does.
Just a question, because nobody has seen the submission. Following Keith's questioning, is part of your submission, are you planning on providing any government entity an irrevocable letter of credit indexed to inflation that would guarantee the cleanup at the end of the life of the solar farm?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are required to sign an agricultural impact mitigation agreement with the Illinois Department of Agriculture. So that was what I was referencing before with the native plantings, but as a part of that, we as the developers are required to come up with a pretty specifically itemized list of all the components on site and put a price to them as to what they would cost to remove. Overall, your decommissioning plan and your decommissioning cost estimate. We are then required to provide a bond that sits with the county, decommissioning bond, that allows them to draw on funds in the event that, 30, 40 years down the line, the project life is over, and if we as the developers, for whatever reason, decide not to remove the equipment and restore the ground, then they have those numbers or those funds to go do it themselves. That's a standard across the entire state of Illinois, and it's for reasons, it's in place for reasons just like you're mentioning.
And then one other question, are you purchasing the land or just renting it?
We have a lease agreement with the
so the homeowner, the property owner himself really has the final liability in case somebody were to walk away or the bond would not be good or for some reason. So it's still the owner of the current property still owns the property. You guys basically, I don't mean this negatively, but you guys basically have no skin in the game. Your LLC could go bankrupt, you could walk away, and and there's this mess to clean up in 20 or 30 years.
Well, we have to fund a bond. So we're providing roughly $500,000 to the county that's going to sit with them for the life of the project. Okay. And we're not going to get any of that back until the project is done with and decommissioned.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
$500,000 million bond doesn't sound like a lot. What is the cost of the project? Do you know?
I believe it's about 7 or 8 million in terms of investment. Don't quote me on this because they're all a little
just
different. And and then just going back to your comment beforehand, is we actually have had discussions with this landowner of ours, and we understand that there is potential for a commercial development on that corner itself, Ringwood and Spring Grove, and so as part of our discussions with the landowner, we've actually excluded that corner from our development of solar. So, there's an L-shaped, and I have some drawings that I probably should have circulated earlier, but The entire property is not going to be covered with solar panels, and we are actually leaving that corner available for future commercial development.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to vary from the agenda a little bit because we have the teachers and the folks here from it's our Fox River Day. So if Trustee Von Alman could step in front of the kiosk and we could get the teachers and kids from the Johnsburg Outdoor Club up here so they don't have to listen to all this all night. So, whereas the Fox River was the central to the lives of early settlers of the Fox River Valley, providing a source of water and power to mill the grains to feed those settlers, saw the lumber to shelter those settlers, and drive the early machinery which formed the commercial and industrial base that gave first growth to our community. And whereas the Fox River has been largely freed from its burden of pollution and once again has become a safe source of recreation and reliable public water supply with its fish and wildlife population in clear recovery. Therefore, we, Village President Edwin P. Hederman and Chair of the Development and Governmental Affairs, Trustee Keith Von Alman of the Village of Johnsburg, on behalf of the citizens of Johnsburg, the Board of Trustees, for your dedication and commitment by volunteering and serving as a member of the Johnsburg Outdoor Club, participating in the It's Our Fox River Day 2025 for the Village of Johnsburg and the Johnsburg Community School District 12. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Your efforts are truly appreciated, and we value your contributions to the Fox River. Your commitment inspires us all, and you make a difference every day. Thank you for going above and beyond. It's my honor with the board and Keith to present certificates of appreciation and recognition and celebrate the life and the well-being of the Fox River for us to share now and with generations to come.
Thank you, Jack. Can you want the certificate? Yeah.
Oh, you're going to They don't need a wide angle lens.
Great job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion for on this agenda and a second, please?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Trustee Falk, seconded by Trustee Sylvanus. Discussion on the motion. Anything that anybody would like pulled?
Ed, I don't have the minutes from September 30th.
Yeah, so
That's a true and accurate statement.
Yeah.
Could we pull the minutes then?
Yeah. That was going to happen.
Okay, no, it's tough to approve what we can't see, so.
Any other things that you would like pulled from the... With there being none, Trustee Morse? Aye. Trustee Hagan? Aye. Trustee Sylvanus? Aye. Trustee Von Alman? Aye. Trustee Falk? Aye. Trustee Letzko? Aye. Motion carried. Okay. President's report, we covered the Johnsburg Outdoor Club certificate of recognition. Tomorrow is walk, bike, roll to school, talk to Vinny on site. So we always have somebody at each school. So if anybody can make it, let's get with Vinny after the meeting and try to establish where we're going to, each one of us are going to be at. Okay. And we are also going to have a State of the Village on Thursday, November 13th at the Johnsburg Community Club. So I'm hoping that all the trustees and village staff can be there on that day.
Sorry, what day was that again?
It's Thursday, November 13th at the Johnsburg Community Club.
6 o'clock?
Yeah, it will be around 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, usually cocktails and the presentation. Second read for action, move to approve resolution to publish an RFP for staffing and operational analysis. We have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion by Keith, seconded by trustee Dominguez. Okay, discussion on the motion.
So Keith,
Pardon me?
I was just gonna say, so Keith, by approving this, we're essentially taking out for a bid on the RFP, right, is what we're looking for here?
Yeah, the resolution would approve the publication of a request for proposals, right, for staffing and operational analysis.
Any other questions?
Nothing we need to add to this?
Pardon me?
Nothing that needs to be added to the original
I
document?
think we will add something to the original document. You know, if something with Vinnie and Claudette seems that should be included, if we're going to request it, or the chief. So we're looking at all departments. If there's some that needs to be added, we'll definitely add to it.
Also Public Works.
Public Works, yes. Trustee Letzger, trustee Falk, you voting? Yes. We have a motion and a second?
Yeah.
There's no more questions?
Oh, no.
No,
Trustee Letzger?
no,
Yes, no?
no, I have anything.
So we'll vote on the motion. Trustee Letzger? Trustee Falk?
Aye.
Trustee Von Allen?
Aye.
Trustee Sylvanus?
Aye.
Trustee Hagan?
Aye.
Trustee Morris? Motion carried. Second read, no action, for action, excuse me. Move to approve agreement between Jack Vending Machines and the Village of Johnsburg for vending services at Pillar Park and Sunnyside Memorial Park. Motion by trustee Falk, seconded by trustee Hagan. Discussion on the motion.
Is it all right to have Jackson's here today? Can you come up and share a little bit about the project?
Sure.
Jackson? Just a quick introduction and what you're thinking about for the vending machine.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jackson. I go to Johnsburg High School. I'm a three-sport athlete. I do track, wrestling, and football. I often find myself at Hillard Park, no matter reffing or even just playing a sport, and constantly concessions are not open. So then kids are hungry, parents are don't know what to do with their kids because they're there all day, and I just figured have snacks and drinks at Hillard Park and Sunnyside, especially because we just got our new tennis courts and pickleball courts. I think that'd be a great addition to them, and that's my thought on the project.
Excellent.
Nice job.
Good job. Any questions?
Did you decide to make a final decision on the machine that's going at Hillard?
No, I haven't.
Okay. You were going to do a mix though, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I'm excited.
Is it 2 machines?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 machines at different right, Sunnyside and Hillard?
Yeah.
1 machine at each location?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one
They're
machine
they're
that'll do...
combos.
Okay, they'll do drinks and
Yeah.
snacks? Cool.
And everybody got the last agreement, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at though. It still hasn't here about the 15% of netto profits. Is that sticking in there, or did we decide to go with just a simple monthly fee?
It was just a monthly fee.
I thought we all.
That's what I thought, but it's still in this, it's not struck out in this agreement. Is that an older one?
No. This is a newer one.
Okay, so that, any reference to any percentage of profits is no longer valid in this agreement. We're sticking with just the simple.
It was
$30.
valid in this agreement, right? It's in this agreement.
I wrote the agreement with the added language for the cost of the electricity with a monthly basis analysis for kilowatt hours on a every 30-day period. But there was also the net profit that I remained in there. I did not alter that portion of the agreement. I was unaware I was supposed to strike it, but that could have been an oversight of my
I thought
part.
we had talked about that, just that it's going to be,
We were trying to keep it simple.
yeah.
Okay.
And by having the
But
profit
what we were-
calculation made it a little more.
Well, we were trying to figure out a way to at least cover our costs and have a little bit of profit. Okay, maybe that's not the percentage, because how do you monitor and how do you keep track of that? I think we thought that was a little complicated. So, I mean, the $30 a month at this point is based on what the use of the electricity is, correct? And
Yeah,
by
an annual
your-
cost of projected of a high efficiency star rating at $338 electrical increase.
So it could be more in the summer, it could be less in the winter. So,
Do you have a time frame when they think your machine will be up?
No, I don't.
What do you do with the
8
machine?
weeks.
All right.
What do you do with the machines like in the winter?
We haven't decided yet. We haven't decided either to keep them winterized there and keep them running, or to pull them and wait until summer and spring.
well, they're probably weatherproof, right? They can probably stay there all
Yeah.
year.
So net profit.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's still that question. Right. So we're just going with the $30 monthly fee for each machine and nothing else.
Except if it uses more electricity, I think is the way the agreement is written.
Okay, so strike out
So-
vendor shall pay rental fee equal to 15%.
So
Remove
if
that
it
line.
uses more electricity in the summer, then that $30 would increase, correct? Isn't that what the agreement says? Yes. If you read the agreement.
Well, so it's, you're not going to run the machines in the winter though, right?
No.
Okay.
There might be activities up there where he wants to run the machine.
Sled hill.
Huh?
Get the sled hill. We need
Yeah,
Gatorade.
sled hill, right?
Gatorade to
Yeah.
climb that hill.
Can I just get clarification from the board if I read it verbatim, if this is what's moving forward? So, rental fee and profit calculation, 2.1 rental fee, vendor hereby agrees to pay the village $30 per month, per location, per machine, and reassess monthly based on multiplying machine usage in kilowatt hours by projected rate. Everything from thereafter has been removed from item number 2, moving forward on the final signature document agreement.
That's what I think we all agreed to, right?
I mean, are we going to be able to tell what the rate is just for the machine versus all the rest of the usage?
So I had an electricity bill that they pulled for the last 12 months, working with ComEd. So I would assume that anything plugged in thereafter is the upcharge, outside of maybe doing a subtraction for anybody that rents the parks with their crock pots. It's not a perfect calculation.
Again, it sounds like we're spending more time on it than.
Okay, $30 it is. No, it's
I
the
think we
board's
had to adjust it, but I think $30 adjusting it for whatever the usage is, because who's going to burn any electricity up there? You know, it's not open, the concession's not open, just like when we had people that wanted to open it and then they weren't there to staff it, so. Trustee Morris, any more comment?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
So again, just for my clarification, I'm sorry. So we are going to be calculating the usage.
That's the way I understand it, yeah. On the roll, trustee Letzker.
Aye.
Trustee Morris. Aye. Trustee Van Allen.
Aye.
Trustee Sylvanus.
Aye.
Trustee Hagan.
Aye.
And trustee Morris. Motion carries.
Good luck, Mr. Dorf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Resolution objecting to McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals zoning hearing Z25-0077, Water Locust Solar LLC for conditional use to the McHenry County Unified Development Ordinance for conditional use to allow for a commercial solar energy facility. Can I have a motion and a second?
I'll motion.
All motion.
Motion by trustee Hagan and seconded by trustee Letzker. Any discussion on the motion of why we should not object or why we should object?
What is the presentation of the letter? What is it? Assistant clerk, are we just sending it to them and asking it to be added to the hearing?
Or show up with the letter and present it to them?
No,
No, you can't.
there's a statute, and what you do is you file it with the village clerk, you provide formal notice of it to the petitioner, as well as the petitioner's attorney, if there is one, so that they have...
I'm sure there is one, right?
Why would he not? So the point is that there is a formal process in the county rules about this and the effect of it. So the thought would be, file this with the county, provide a formal notice to the petitioner, and whatever else you want to do with that. If copies want to be sent to the zoning board, presented, you're welcome to do that. But no, I don't want someone just
Wouldn't
walking
it
in
be
with a letter.
effective to have it go to every member of the zoning board?
Yes, but to have the legal effect.
But the
You can send it to everyone.
The county board will have the final say.
You can send it to anybody.
Okay.
You can have a plane fly over with it.
Okay, the drone?
But if the board is intending to require a supermajority vote of 3/4 of the county board, which is what I think the purpose of this is, you're going to file it with the county, file it with the petitioner to require that 3/4 supermajority vote. And whoever else you want to send copies to, that's fine. But that's political. Legally, you need to do this in order to require that supermajority vote. So no, not just a letter walking into the zoning board of appeals.
So after it goes to zoning board of appeals, it goes to the county board?
You can send it to them as well.
Okay. We will do that unless somebody objects to doing it. The consensus is to do it? Trustee Morris? Yes. Trustee Hagan?
Yes.
Trustee Sylvanus?
Yes.
Trustee Van Allen?
Yes.
Trustee Falk? Yep. Trustee Letzker?
Okay.
Yes.
And did we have a motion preceding that then?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We have a motion before that, and then discussion on the motion. Before your comments, just so it's on the record, straight. Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Van Allen, seconded by trustee Falk. Anybody want to pull the motion for adjournment? Okay. Trustee Morris, trustee Hagan, trustee Sylvanus, trustee Van Allen, trustee Falk, and trustee...
Aye.
Motion carries.